Hey guys, today I'll be talking about this Leviathan here, this giant case, and this is my Pentium III machine. It's actually a dual Pentium III SMP. It's not like a dual core like a newer where both the cores are 4 cores or 6 cores or whatever on one chip. Back in the day, there were 2 actual processors, and that's what's in this thing. That's not really what makes it cool or special though. The cool thing is that it's a dual processor. It's a Pentium III. It's a Tualatin, I think they're called. Tualatin chips. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. But those are pretty much the pinnacle of the Pentium III. And this has the fastest in here. There are 2 1.4 gigahertz Pentium III Tualatins in this machine. The motherboard's a server board. Probably maybe this case too. I don't know. It's a hefty case. It's definitely, they're really kind of meant for servers. Unfortunately, Intel kind of was trying to get rid of the Pentium III line at that time. They came out around 2001, 2002, and they were really trying to get their Pentium 4s out. The funny thing is about the Tualatins, the Pentium 3s, the last ones, they're actually faster than the early Pentium 4s. Personally, I'm not a big fan of the Pentium 4. The first one, I think they're the Williamette cores. Pronunciation, of course, I might be off. They're horrible. And this 1.4 gigahertz Tualatin Pentium 3 probably beats, a 1.8 gigahertz Pentium 4 if it's a Williamette core. They fix things up with the Northwoods, the second one. I'm not a fan of the Prescotts. The Northwoods are okay, but they actually went back to the architecture in the Pentium 3 when they went with the newer Core 2 Duos, I think. I guess NetBurst on the Pentium 4 didn't work out too well for them. But yeah, for being as old as it is, this thing's pretty much a monster. It's really fast for a Pentium 3. You can run a lot of cool things on this. There's 2 Pentium 3 stickers. That's just, because there's 2 Pentium. I like case stickers, case badges. They add some personality to things. People that seen this, they comment on this DVD drive. I don't know, it's a weird, unique DVD drive. It's just got this weird wavy sort of bezel. I looked up the company. I don't know. I've never seen a styling like that before. I just know some people really liked it. This is just a slot loading CD drive. Nothing too special. Floppy drive, zip drive. I think this is a 250 megabyte zip drive. Yeah, it's a kind of a unique case. It's bigger. It's a bit bulkier than your usual kind of PC cases. Nothing too exciting going on in the back. Like I said, it's a bit wider than your average case. Yeah, it's kind of a beast of a machine. Taking a look down the back, nothing too special. We've got your PS2 ports. It's a built-in USB, printer port, a couple serial ports. Now that's a switch. I actually, I had like an extra, like a light, case light that I installed just for the heck of it. It's in there. That switch just turns it on and off. There's a Matrox card in there we'll talk about. That's why there's 2. It's for a dual monitor. SCSI, Ethernet, some more USB, and then a sound blaster. So nothing too exciting. This is mostly just for testing. I've been using this for testing. Right now Windows 98's installed, which unfortunately can't take advantage of the 2 processors. You need either NT or Windows 2000 and up will work with more than one processor. Some versions of Linux and whatnot will as well. But right now I have Windows 98 SE on it for testing. I'll talk about that when I open it up, why. But yeah, that only takes advantage of one of the processors, which it's not a big deal. It's still really fast, and a lot of games and stuff from this era didn't really do multi-threading that well, so they didn't really take advantage of the 2 CPUs that well. A couple games did, but not many, so it's not really a big deal. Even just running on one processor, it's still really fast. So let's take a look inside. Okay, well here's the tangled mess that is the inside of this machine. So as you can see right here, there are two full CPUs, or processors. It's not just two cores on one chip. This is just how they used to call it. It's called SMP systematic multiprocessing, maybe? I don't know. But yeah, there they are, two 1.4 gigahertz Pentium 3s. I'm running SCSI right now. You can see the SCSI controller down there with the ribbon. I think this can take up to 2 gigabytes of RAM. SD, it's not DDR. I think I have 512 megabytes in it right now because I am using Windows 98 SE, so it usually has some problems if it's over that amount, so I've just kept it at that. And as you look down here, there's that light I installed. It's just a green light. I used to have this thing tricked out a lot more. I had it for a special purpose, but I took out a lot of the stuff. I think the fan there too has green LEDs. There's a little power distribution-y thingy for the light system. I moved most of the stuff to a different system for a different reason, which I'll review that computer eventually. But I had some extra still, so I just kept them in the machine. It gives it a little bit of, you know, personality. So, all right, so you can see, I think it's hard to, but these are not stock heat sinks. It's going to be hard to see. I don't even know. They are not stock heat sinks. They look like they're copper tubes. It reminds me of like the like a nuclear reactor where they have the rods inside of it, but yeah, those are not stock heat sinks. It's actually really overkill for a heat sink on this thing. It'd be nice if this board allowed me to overclock. Okay, I had to stop for a second to figure out what the model of this board is, but it's a server board. It's meant for a server. It's a tie-in Tiger S2507T, and it has no options for overclocking. This is not a gamer's motherboard. So I mean, it would be nice if I could overclock them, then those extra super strong heat sinks would kind of come in handy, but I can't, so they're kind of just super overkill. Not that you can overclock these Pentium 3s much anyways, because they're already pretty much the limit of their thermal capacity. So I've seen some people get like 1.5, maybe 1.6 gigahertz out of them, but it's probably just safe to stick with the 1.4. The thing, this machine is really loud. I mean, part of it is my fault. I mean, it's got the SCSI drive, which isn't the quietest thing, but it's got like 2 fans, it's got that fan, it's got another fan there. It's just a little bit noisy. I mean, it's not always the case. Not all SCSI drives are noisy, but my whole combination here makes this a really noisy. Okay, plus the fan up here, so it's got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fans in it, plus the SCSI, which is loud, but actually 6 if you count the VGA card. But we'll go into that now. I'll take a look what I've got in here. Okay, I think it's an AGP slot on here. I think is a ×2 AGP. Not 100% sure. So the card I have right now installed is a Matrox G400 MAX. Okay cards for the time, especially once the driver is matured for them. I don't know if it was OpenGL or DirectX. One of the standards, it really sucked at it first, but once they got the better drivers, it's actually a pretty good card. Very competitive for the time. Like all Matrix cards, they have excellent video quality. Matrox. I keep saying Matrix cards. I always do that. Matrix cards. It's Matrox. Maybe it is Matrix, I don't know. But anyways, yeah, it supports 2 monitors, dual monitor support, but it has really good picture quality. But that's really not the reason I'm using this card in this machine to test it. The reason is this card uses environmental bump mapping technology, EMBM, I think. Well, anyways, it's not a big deal. A lot of later cards support it, but there are a couple games that specifically need this card. It's like a special Matrox environmental bump mapping. One of them is Expendable, which is one of those games that use the feature of this card. So I'm actually kind of testing out this card and games that use that feature and stuff like that. A couple other games use it too. I think Command and Conquer Renegade use it for the water. A lot of games use it for water. Dungeon Master or Dungeon Keeper 2. They're not all exclusive use with this card. I know Expendable is. It only really works fully with this card. If you're looking for these, the G400s, they're not that rare. The Maxes go for a little bit more of a premium, but they look the same. The Maxes, though, generally have a fan on them. So if you're on eBay and you just look up G400 and you see one listed as just a regular G400 with a fan, it's probably a Max. So snatch it up if it's a good price. This is like 20 bucks. A couple years ago I picked it up and it was listed like that. The Maxes were a bit more expensive. They were like 35 or 40 at the time. I don't know if that's changed, but yeah, just look for a G400. And if it has a fan, probably like 90% chance that it's a Max, unless someone just stuck a fan on a G400, which I guess could happen. But so nothing else too interesting. It's just a SCSI card and a USB card. So the only other real thing I'm gonna bother to pull out is the sound card, which I just went with a Sound Blaster Live. It's, you know, it's just standard fare for the time. These are actually like decent cards. I kind of like them. I just haven't had much luck with the Vortex 2 cards. I do use them in a couple machines, but it's just this Sound Blaster always seems to just be the standard. So I just use this for just stock compatibility. It's just a good Windows 98 card. It has decent compatibility with DOS too. Not any PCI card's not gonna have great DOS compatibility, but you know, not that I use this for DOS, but yeah, it's just the Sound Blaster Live. I don't think it's a value. I think it's just a stock standard card. I don't know. I just picked it up at a swap meet to throw in this machine. But yeah, that's about it for this machine. So let's take a look at it in action, see how well it runs stuff.
Slave Zero prototype shows all systems nominal. Guardian Chan, you are a go for assault on comm array. And careful, Guardian. That's some expensive tech you're operating. Not...
Welcome to the industrial sector, Slave Zero. We've got to destroy this sector's communications array by taking out its 3 core generators. Once the array is down, you'll be able to penetrate the lab safely. Your first target is ahead 0.9 clicks. You'll have 2 more after that, so stay alert. We'll be tracking your progress from here.